Hello, everybody. Today is December 17th, 2025, and today I have for my wonderful, beautiful community, Sounding the Color Within, Dr. Odell, who is the director of BRMI, which is a nonprofit organization. And I'm thrilled that Dr. Odell is taking time to tell us about himself and also to tell us about his organization. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. So, let me introduce myself a little bit for people that don't know me. Um, I'm a naturopathic doctor. I've been a naturopath for over 30 years. And after graduating from naturopathic college, I went to China and studied for 3 years traditional Chinese medicine at Shantou University Medical College. Then I came back to the United States and I met up with a Swiss doctor, Dr. Thomas Rau, who invited me to Switzerland to study what at that time is European biological medicine. And so I stayed there for a time and back and forth doing some internship and learned some interesting techniques beyond just traditional Chinese medicine and naturopathy. Thomas Rau and I started doing conferences together in the United States, mainly on the East Coast. And we did that for over 10 years. Then I started with another gentleman, Bioregulatory Medicine Institute. And the reason we started this institute was really to open up information to the public. And this is a free platform. So our website is free, the podcast is free, the newsletter is free. We tried to make it like a public library. And the information we vet, and we have a panel of experts from around the world that send us information. And this is how we really retrieve information on a lot of different topics. So our website is a huge, huge database of information. And I invite people to go there to visit it. It's BRMI.online. That's BRMI.online. And when you go there, there's just a lot of information on Bioregulatory Medicine Institute and bioregulatory medicine and the history, which goes really back into the 1940s. The term bioregulatory medicine was coined then. And it was really designed to show these are the natural methods that help the body heal itself, or are designed to help the body heal itself. So, again, being more natural or non-invasive methods. So, regulatory, the word regulatory means that we don't interfere with the regulation of the body, the sensitive mechanisms of the body that can be easily tampered with, like with pharmaceuticals and the like. And as you know, many pharmaceuticals do that. They interfere with enzyme systems and proteins and the like, and then
Yes.
they cause downstream a lot of side effects. And so bioregulatory medicine incorporates traditional medicines like traditional Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic medicine and anthroposophical medicine and other like homeopathy and very energetic types of medicine alongside very what we would think of as high technologies. High technologies would be different kinds of frequency therapies and light therapies and sound therapies, um, magnetic therapy, various kinds of other things, peptides and ozone and the like. So we bootstrap all this together, and this is what bioregulatory medicine is really all about. Now, our our website, as I say, is a huge database, but I also put out a podcast every other week, and I try to make it really short, like only 15 minutes, and it's on a specific topic. We also have a newsletter that's free that anyone could sign up for that comes out every other month, excuse me. And it's called um, the podcast is The Science of Self-Healing, and the newsletter, as I say, comes out every other month. It has a lot of interesting information. It'll have articles written by different individuals. It'll have book reviews. and some videos and the like. Um, and then we also do conferences as well. We have a conference cruise that's coming up in March. So we've decided we did this last year and it was a huge success. People love to
I
cruise,
heard.
and that was a lot of fun. And so we're going to do it again in March. And this is still available. There's still cabins available for people that if they wanted to sign up for that. And we also have a YouTube channel, though we're transferring it over to Rumble mostly now, just to kind of protect ourselves, because
Okay.
YouTube at any time can change and and censor things.
Yes.
So we're careful about that. We don't want to lose any information. Um, but basically, those are the things. Of course, we have social media platforms as well that people could visit and chime into too.
I also noticed that you have a practitioner area, right? So that if you're a
Well, yes, we
practitioner,
do. We're creating a practitioner area, and we invite practitioners that want to sign up for this. You just send us your information. You fill out a little questionnaire, and then we'll put you up on our practitioner directory. And we're going to make this, state by state, country by country. But we just started doing this and mainly because people kept asking us, well, where can I get this therapy or where can I get that
right,
therapy?
right.
And we didn't really have an answer for that. So now we're trying to create this practitioner directory that will help kind of guide people into hopefully some qualified hands of practitioners that can administer the kinds of diagnostics and therapies that we talk about.
Yeah. I'm thrilled with your website because I've been looking at it and you have a lot of information. And one of the things that you and I were discussing before starting the recording is the fact that there's so much information out there. It is overwhelming. And I feel that people are getting lost in the information, and I'm
Mhm.
not sure if they're actually reaching the right information.
Mhm.
So I worry about that. I worry
Yeah,
that people are maybe doing detoxes that actually may be hurting them instead of, and they're listening to people that are famous podcasters that are putting out information out there that may not necessarily be the best, for a person. And then you
true.
mentioned AI, right?
Yeah. Yes, yes.
That,
Well, exactly. It's easy to get lost in the information feed. And, depending on a person's passion, some people still read, and some people don't, they don't want to read anymore. And
yeah,
so they're more into the visual part of it or a podcast where they listen to it. And so at BRMI, we try to approach this in different ways. We do have a lot of videos, and I do the podcast, and we have a lot of articles. So we really try to incorporate all three areas of where you can read it, see it, hear it, whatever. Um, but it's true that it's easy to get lost in the information feed, and sometimes it's very conflicting. Hear that, oh, vitamin D is good for you. Oh no, vitamin D is not good
right,
for you.
right.
So and sometimes you hear these things both sides by reputable people, and
Yeah,
that makes it even a little
yes,
bit more concerning. So what we try to do is go to the research. Go to the actual articles and the studies behind whatever it is. And so the information that we put out there is very vetted. It is very uh, under it all. We have researched it quite well and have studies to back it up.
wow,
So this is a problem, though, and particularly I think with AI stepping in now. For some of you listeners may have experienced this where you go to Wikipedia and you type in a therapy and it gives you this censored information like about that particular therapy or that particular person or that pioneer or whatever it is. They may say, oh, he was a quack or something like this,
yes,
and which is
yeah,
far from the truth. And so Wikipedia, we can't depend on, that type of information. Um, well, the same thing has happened with AI. AI is amazing, wonderful. A lot of students are using it to, to write their reports and papers now, and so it's filling in a lot of the information field. But if you think about it, someone has created that information. The programmers have, and the programmers do have a bias, and so we can't always depend upon that uh, that AI feed to be true and accurate. We really have to do our own due diligence and look at other kinds of information just to make sure that that's real and true.
And
And
so this is where BRMI really stands out because you guys do all the research, right, with your
yes,
advisory board.
this is
And
exactly what we do. We really look at the information and filter out what's true and what's not to the best that we can. Now, I was mentioning to you for information, some of the information is quite unusual. So there's people out there that talk about aliens. There's people that talk about the world and the way that it is, and so we don't get too much into that arena of
right,
it, but we do have what's called a rabbit hole. And for that kind of information, we put down the rabbit hole and we disclose that we don't really know. But this is
right.
interesting information, and you're welcome to read it and
And go
see how
down the rabbit hole.
and yeah go and exactly and see how you feel about it and do your own again due diligence and research this type of information. So we have kind of most of our information is really 99% of it is above board vetted, um, and whereas that 1% is down that rabbit hole.
Down the rabbit hole. My favorite topic, actually.
Yeah.
So there are no membership dues, right? It's all based on
There are
it's
not.
free.
We have
None.
no membership dues. It's all free. And
Okay.
so this is how we really want it to be. Unfortunately, we have donors. We're always looking for more donors,
Of
but we
course.
have donors that have allowed us to do this and to make it like a free public library. So we don't have to charge a membership fee to enter into the website. Now, I could quite honestly tell you, we've discussed this with people and they think that we're very foolish. Okay, very foolish. That if we're giving it away, that people won't value it. That they have to be charged a certain fee, nominal fee,
Right.
whatever, for them to value this as real and true. I don't feel that way, and I just don't want to look that direction. I really want it to be open to the public, an open source, and free at all of our platforms. Of course, the conferences are not free, but we
Right.
try to make them very inexpensive and available to people. So that's the issue with it. There's no membership fee. No.
That's wonderful because, that sometimes will stop people from joining. But that's the main reason why I'm doing this interview because I want my community to know about BRMI because there's a lot of, vetted information, like you said. The other question that I have for you is if anybody from my community wanted to, have an interview, what is the process of that?
Um,
One,
well, yes, they could contact our program director. That's Jane Dolan.
okay.
And she's our program director, and she organizes these things, interviews and webinars and various kinds of things like this. I am very happy to do that. My time is a bit limited, and
Yes.
but I am available for interview.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And one last thing, because I know you're a very busy man. I was looking at your website and I saw that you wrote a book on cancer,
Oh
on
yes. Well, thank
breast
you very much.
cancer.
Yes, yes. Well, It's a long story, but yeah, this was a book that took me years and years to write. I had a lot of people that women came to me with breast cancer, and I would give them a few pages of information, like just recipes, things to do to kind of help themselves. Then I realized that wasn't adequate. So I increased it to maybe about 30 pages of information. And I realized that wasn't adequate either.
Yeah.
And so I thought, I need to write a book about this. And so it's been a lot of time. But that book is called um, Breast Cancer, The Rest of the Story. And for those of you that are old like me, might remember Paul Harvey. Uh, he had a radio show. It was called The Rest of the Story. And he would always tell a story and then have kind of a twist at the end, and that was the rest of the story. Well, of course, this information in the book has all the conventional information for people that want to know about radiation and chemotherapy and the newest kinds of chemo and what it does or is supposed to do. And it also has a lot of bioregulatory information, natural types of approaches too. It goes into in depth a lot of the diagnostics that are now used, and why and why not you might want to do that. Also, the causes, of course, and there's two things about the book. The first thing is that I tried to express to people that breast cancer is not a 911 situation, that they have a few weeks, maybe even a month of time to gather all their nuts together and line them up and to find out what's the best approach for them. In other words, this is to get a team of people behind them and to find the best oncologists, to get second and third opinions, to really not just jump into it and feel also fearful and do immediately what the oncologist says to do. That they need to be the captain of their own ship,
Yes.
and that's the first thing. The second thing is, and this is really important. Breast cancer, as much as it is a physical illness, it's a psycho-emotional illness too.
Mm,
And that
absolutely.
there's usually a rip to the system that precedes it by 2 or 3 years. And that means that there's a trauma that could happen prior to the actual physical manifestation of the tumor.
That's right. Yeah.
And so you have to track that down. What was it? Was it a loss of a loved one? Was it a loss of a job? Something that kind of took them off of um, their
Their path and their
feet.
purpose.
Yeah, knocked them off their feet
Yeah.
and off their purpose. Exactly. Their spiritual purpose was a bit disrupted, and they may not have really recovered from that, and they have to get back in and recover from that, because if they don't, then I mean that is a huge causative factor that affects
Yes.
the immunity, that affects the all of the signals in the body in so many ways. So I try to stress this information, but as you know, people they'll go to the oncologist. The oncologist isn't going to say, like,
No.
well, tell me
No.
about your life and what happened to you a few years ago. They're not,
No,
they're
they're not. Absolutely not. The other thing that I also saw in your website is that you will continue to update this book as new information comes in because it's an ebook, and I find that extremely helpful because things are changing so quickly in
yeah,
medicine, especially with now with AI involved in medicine.
yes,
And I find that extremely helpful because, I can pick up a book from a few years ago and things have changed so quickly. And especially now with all the different, the vaccines and everything else that's happened in our planet, how that has made also an impact in everybody's immune system. So,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
there's been within the last few years a lot of different new information that has come in. And as you mentioned, AI in the vaccine, the
yeah.
COVID mRNA vaccine. which has really exponentially increased the rates of cancer and
Yes,
breast cancer particularly.
in
So,
particularly. Yeah.
or cancers that were dormant, the person said, "Oh, I thought I was over this," and then suddenly they end up with a new occurrence.
Yeah. I just lost a friend to cancer, and I've lost quite a few friends to cancer in the last couple of years. So I'm definitely noticing that. And it's all ages. It's not just,
Yes,
'cause my kids say, well, mom, you're getting older. And I said, well, no, it's actually young people that are also dying of cancer all of a sudden.
absolutely.
So I'm grateful that that you've written this book and that you're going to continue to update it. And I encourage my community to go. I'm going to put your website also.
Okay.
So, because the book is in a different website, but
But yes,
it's
it's
in
breast cancer, the rest of the story.com.
.com. Okay, I will put a
Yeah.
link to
It's
that
it's the
too.
whole, yeah, breast cancer, the rest of the story.com.
Yeah.
But I think you can get to it through BRMI as well. There's a link to it, and we have some books that we recommend
Okay.
on our website. But yes, you can
Wonderful.
get to there. And as I say, it is an ebook, and I am updating it. And but I invite people if they have breast cancer or have a friend that has breast cancer, I do think it's a very, very valuable book to have.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for taking the time because I know you're a very busy man and I enjoyed reading about you and learning about you. You have this passion for obviously for health and healing, but also for educating the public and other practitioners. And I'm all about that and about bringing people together so that we can help each other.
Well,
So
thank you, Vanessa. It's a pleasure, and I really appreciate you interviewing me and putting this information into your community.
thank you. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too. Happy holidays.
Thank you. You too.